one of those will join us. The other two startups that have their offices in this building are Yammer and One Kings Lane, so you'll hear more about it. But before we do that, I would like to introduce to you the founder and CEO of the Runway, the person whose idea and concept this was, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about what this is all about. So please welcome Allan Young.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Allan Young, and thank you all for being here. We're really excited and privileged to have you join us for a few hour or two here at Runway. As Angelica said, this is the home of Twitter. It's also the home of Yammer, which was acquired by Microsoft. It's now the largest, enterprise corporate social network, internal social network in the world. And then One Kings Lane sells furniture online. And then we have here Runway. So Runway is probably San Francisco's best kept secret. It's the largest co-working and incubator space in the city, but it's also the least dense, meaning we have the fewest desks per square meter. And there's a reason for that. So let me tell you a very short story about how we got here. So I started on the venture capital side when I was an undergraduate. I actually raised $20 million in between my sophomore and junior years with my friends while we were in university, in college. And we launched a venture fund. And we started investing in technology companies while taking full course load. I was studying philosophy. I've never taken a business class. The other guys are finance majors, and economics, business majors. But we ended up making about 15 investments. We had 3 IPOs, $3 billion IPOs. The most famous one would be Omniture, which is a web analytics company. If you're in e-commerce or you're on the web a lot, if you're with a company that's on the web, you might have used Omniture. The biggest competitor would be Google Analytics, which is free. Omniture costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then our second IPO was a fiber optics telecom equipment company. And then finally, our last one was a biotech cancer drug. So you might say, wow, how does a small group of undergraduates build a fund? And we made tremendous returns for our investors. And it's a very unique story. And I'll get back to that. But from there, I went to start my own startup. I raised $2.5 million and started a kind of rich media advertising technology company, which eventually was sold to Rakuten, which is kind of like the Amazon of Japan. And then afterwards, I spent a year with this guy named Seth Godin. I don't know if any of you have heard of him. He's like this amazing marketing guy. I wanted to learn about marketing because I didn't know anything about marketing. And then came back to start a company with Y Combinator, which is one of the top incubators in Silicon Valley. I hope you've visited them. If not, come back on a second trip. We'll make that happen. You should see what they've been able to build. They're responsible for Airbnb and Dropbox. And then, but my Y Combinator company failed, and then I decided to start Runway. And it failed because even though we had some great mentorship, we didn't have the opportunity to form a community and to learn from each other. In the Y Combinator program, we only meet once a week to have dinner with each other and then to listen to a keynote speaker. So I decided to make Runway an experiment on community building. So Runway is actually an attempt to destroy the myth of the garage startup, which is a very powerful myth in Silicon Valley. Hewlett and Packard built out of the garage, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, Bill Gates and Paul Allen. But things have changed tremendously, and things are moving much faster than ever before. And now we're living in a world where software touches everything. So if that's true, then there's a lot more interactions, interrelationships, and partnerships that we can build. So the idea for Runway is to
get entrepreneurs to not build in the garage. And if they built in a community of other great, smart, hardworking entrepreneurs, they'll learn a lot from each other and they'll push each other. So when you walked in, you saw how big this place is here. It's wider than a football field, longer than a football field, but we've wasted a lot of space right straight down in the middle of the runway. And so there's working space on the sides, but our philosophy is that the runway provides the opportunity for everybody to have accidental collisions. And that's where the community building happens. That's where the knowledge sharing and learning from each other happens. And people start moving faster and faster. We've only been open a little over 5 months. There have been 3 companies that have been acquired, 2 by Rackspace, which is a very big cloud computing company, and for significant amounts of money. There's a company currently being in negotiations to be acquired, so that might be 4 to 5 months. We're going to try to keep it up and do 1 acquisition a month. But it's very difficult, but that's our kind of our ambitious goal. So back to how a small group of undergraduates could raise $20 million and start investing. And I consider ourselves very lucky. The companies that we were very confident about have been our failures in that portfolio we invested. And the companies that we were sort of not sure about, we were not very confident about, that something made us pull the trigger to invest. And primarily the reason why we overcame our uncertainty to invest in those companies were great management, great team members, great people behind those companies. Those are the companies that have been our 3 billion-dollar IPOs. And one of the things I wanted to share with you, and I'm so happy for you to be here, is that Silicon Valley gets a lot of attention, and then a lot of other countries, whether it's Germany or Singapore or Hong Kong or Brazil or Chile, everyone wants to build their own Silicon Valley. But I don't think Silicon Valley is just a geographic location. It's just a mindset, right? And when you think about it, something about the mindset allowed investors to say, okay, it's okay to invest in undergrads who will then use our money to invest in startups. So I wanted just to encourage you to think, hey, Silicon Valley can be anywhere. It could be in Germany. We have startups here from Germany. There's a company called Widget Labs that's here. They're from Cologne. We have companies from Norway. We have companies from the Czech Republic. We have companies from Hong Kong, Japan, China, Argentina, and there's more. There's more coming. The Spanish want to be here, and we want Runway to be this bridge to startups from other countries. But the one thing I wanted to leave you with is this idea that Silicon Valley is not this location. There's a kind of global Silicon Valley, and it's more of a mindset where my encouragement to you is, whether you're government or entrepreneurs or investors or large corporations, is to just be willing to take more risks. And one of the funny things I've heard is that the Germans don't like to take risk. Right? Everything is very precise and engineered. And I don't know if that's true, but I think that if you want to see more entrepreneurial activity, right? When we talk to the people in Norway, the Norwegians they're one of the largest producers of oil and gas. But that's a finite resource. But innovation and design and human capital is nearly infinite. And that's what you want to invest in. So what the Norwegian government has tried to do is to say, how do we, at least allocate some of that natural resource wealth to encourage and to fund and to make entrepreneurship and technology and innovation more easy, more fast. And I would encourage you to do the same as well. And that Silicon Valley is something that can thrive inside of Germany. Thank you again for being here. I'd love to take questions. I don't know what else is on the agenda, but please let me know if we can help you in any way. Yes.
From a German perspective, it's totally unimaginable that undergrads can raise a fund. In Germany, no one can raise a fund. I mean, even the best entrepreneurs and investors are not able to raise a fund. How is that possible?
What would be, my question back to you is, what is the largest industry in Germany?
Automotive.
Automotive. So then, automotive, anything else?
Machinery.
And are those, is that mostly large companies or is there families?
It'll have to be both.
Families.
Strong men.
Yeah. And so something about, so in our past here, we've had the opportunity to get wealthy families and large corporations that have created a lot of wealth from other types of industries to say, okay, we'll allocate as a method of diversification some monies to entrepreneurship and innovation and technology. And that's one of our blueprints, right? We are very good at getting real estate families and companies to say, let's invest in technology. We're really good at getting agriculture families and companies to invest in technology. We're really good at getting natural resource, oil and gas wealth to diversify a little bit. And 1 or 2 or 3 or 5% of their portfolio should be in technology. We're really good at doing that. So I think that if it's not happening in Germany, that would be one of the strategies to do that. And yes.
To Alex's earlier point, which were the LPs you were able to attract to your fund? First question.
Interestingly enough, Deutsche Bank was one. Yes, this is true, but it was the American branch of Deutsche Bank.
I'm puzzled. I mean, that's just...
Yeah, UBS as well, right? Of course, it was Americans at Deutsche Bank, in the American office at Deutsche Bank, but Deutsche Bank was one of them. UBS, Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley.
Thank you.
So it sounds like you say we're running. We've done 4 exits in 5 months. What is Runway actually have equity?
No, we don't take any
Is it a
equity.
real estate model here? or
It's
what?
not a real estate model. Believe it or not, we are running Runway at a break-even model. So the companies pay for desk space. And in return, what we're trying to do is build great community so that when you sit down, to your left is a company that's doing, that's filled with smart people doing something interesting. To your right, in front of you, behind you. So you're surrounded by talent. That's the only real value we bring. We don't promise anything, and we don't take equity. But my dream come true is to make this space free, where we don't charge rent to the startups, and we don't take equity.
Are you doing this just because you did really great and you want to get back to the community now?
There's a small part of that, but I think there's something more interesting if we create a new model where we don't care about the real estate. The real estate just needs to break even, and as long as we don't lose money, we're fine. And something about aggregating a lot of great talent in one space and making it, and lowering the barriers to get here where they don't have to pay for rent and we don't take equity, will create something very powerful, and I don't know what that is yet. So we actually don't have a huge profit motive for this. Yes.
How much are you getting involved in working with the companies? Are they just here, or are you moderating, or like doing workshops?
So there are a lot of other spaces that promise, oh, we'll help you get money, we'll help you get employees, we'll help you do all that. We don't promise any of that. What we do is, we don't have a website. We don't tweet, we don't Facebook, we don't advertise. We are invitation only, which means that our entire focus is just getting really great companies in here. And so those companies that have been acquired, they would have been acquired had they been somewhere else too. But it's a function of us saying, hey, we're only letting great companies in here. And we do all that. I'd love to spend time with the startups here and do mentoring, but it's not part of the advertising. It's free. It's a gift, and we've helped a lot of the startups in here find their first customers, find their first partner, find their first investors. But it's not something we want to advertise, because if we advertise it, inevitably we're going to break our promise, right? There's going to be someone that we're not able to help get funding, or help get a customer, or help get a partner, or help get a very good employee. So we don't advertise that. It's something we want to help with, but it's not part of the package.